Welcome back to another day of Vincent's bike ride. Behind me you can see Helensville. It's near where I stayed last night. At the end of yesterday's ride, I ended up in Helensville at that park outside an information centre in my search for some sort of accommodation. Eventually I did find somewhere to stay. There's no camping in here. There was a camping place, but they closed it down so the hotels could make more money, the usual. So no camping. But fortunately I met in a shop a lady who had land. What was it? About 4 kilometres away. So I went to her land. You might have seen the video last night. I can't remember how I'm going to put this together. Can't remember. I haven't put this together yet. So this may all be redundant. But yeah, so I met her and she said, yeah, you can stay at my place. Or on my land. And she actually told me about how at one stage she was at her place, it's where she's living now. And she came home and there was some Asian guy, I think she said Japanese, maybe. Yeah, camping near her gate. And so she said, you should come inside, inside the gate, so you're not on the edge of the road. Here's some out of luck person, I guess. So yeah, it wasn't her first time she's had something over. Later on, her husband and her came down and let me go up to the house and fill up my water bladder and gave me some cherry tomatoes. She also offered some eggs, again, more eggs, but I wasn't planning on cooking. I'd already eaten. When I had to wait for her to turn up, I decided to have my dinner then, an early dinner. So, because where I was, I didn't have to deal with dishes, to be honest. And scrambled eggs are they're not the best in my little cooker. I found out the other day. Took some scrubbing. And that reminds me of the 2 things I need to buy: methylated spirit and a scouring pad for cleaning my pots and pans. Mental note to self. I'll forget that again. I always forget the things I need and buy things I don't. Oh, I'll buy some of those peanuts. Don't need peanuts. Anyway, so as you may tell, the weather is very overcast today. Rain is forecasted, I was told yesterday. It's meant to rain all day, so I'm happy it's not raining yet. There's the showgrounds. I was told it may be possible to camp there, but I didn't need to try in the end. Well, that would be a dicey way to go. Just most likely there'd be nobody there. Anyway, as I was saying, the weather is overcast, so if it does start raining, I'll have to put the microphone away. So the audio from the cameras, especially with this heavy wind, is unusable, so that'll be that. So I had a good night, slept reasonably well. Now it's the next day of Vincent's bike ride. I believe today is the 10th of February. It's a Wednesday. As you can tell, I'm getting a bit vague on these. It's just gone past 9:30 in the morning. And I'm leaving Helensville in New Zealand and heading north again. See, Wellsford is doable, but there's no real accommodation. Yesterday I had a good chat to some information people. There's just no camping in this region. really is sad. But New Zealand's going the way of, as always, big business. So campsites don't encourage the wealthy to come to your town. They encourage working class. And they don't want that. $180 for a room. Wow. I mean, 90 English pounds for a room. I know it's not a massive cost compared to some of those silly priced rooms, but still. For working class, that's hard to swallow. Well, I think at the top of this hill, I'll stop talking, or panting as the case is now. And I'll have some music instead. I talked too much yesterday, bored you all no doubt. But well, that was my introduction for today anyway. Hopefully today will be a good day. And you're back with another Vincent's voiceover. I just thought I'd add to the noise here because I'm actually coming into this town, Waitoki, where I actually stop at this service station you see on the right hand side. I'm approaching. I went into the little shop, and as I was in the shop it started to rain, so I came out, as you'll see in a second, and it's all wet and the rain was still falling. So of course I put the lights on my bike because yeah, when you're riding in the wet you always want your lights on. So yeah, for the rest of this video there's actually no audio either because I didn't really want my microphone out in the rain, as you can no doubt understand. So unfortunately you're stuck with voiceover Vincent again. So Waitoki is obviously a small town. As you can see, I've almost gone through the whole thing already. I've never heard of this town, so I don't really know anything about it. I think it's just some rural little village. But today we left Helensville and went up through the countryside and turned off to go from the road 16, which I left Auckland on. You might have remembered that sign sometimes, number 16. And that road would take me to Wellsford. At Wellsford apparently there's no accommodation like camping wise. I asked at Helensville yesterday. So they recommended going across essentially the whole country. It's quite funny, this country's so narrow here. And going to the Red Beach area or Orewa. So I decided I'll go that way, and that's why I turned off on this road, which is just some back road. I don't know if it even has a designation. And head towards Silverdale, which will be the first town or the part of, essentially we're still in the north shore of Auckland, I guess. It is out of Auckland, it's quite a long way out of Auckland. I'm not sure, I don't know how they rate these things. It's in an area, I'm looking at a map and it's called Stanmore Bay. I've never heard of this place. I've heard of Red Beach though, and so I know of it. I've never heard of the name Stanmore Bay before. But yeah, so we're going to go there and see what we can find. Being now that it's wet, I'm hoping there's some decent accommodation there and that I can use. So the camera doesn't really show the rain very well, I guess you could say. As in, the road is wet, you can definitely see the water, but it was still raining. It wasn't heavy at all. It was only like a light rain. You can see the odd drops now appearing on the camera lens. Of course, there's little I can do about that while cycling. I was kind of hoping the velocity of the wind flowing past me would blow the raindrops away from the lens, but I'm not going that fast, I guess, so they stick like glue. So the video now, you can see I'm looking backwards. As there's more water on the lens, I started thinking, I might as well just edit the camera so I'm looking backwards where there'll be less water. There was still water though. These lorries going past, they throw up quite the amount of water off the road as their tyres displace the water, looking for grip. So it's not the most pleasant day for riding, but we'll press on as we go past some various industries. Most of these seem to be wood related, so I'm guessing there's a lot of logging in this region, or maybe they have a forestry here where they grow trees as a crop. Very slow growing crop, of course. But the road was actually quite considerably busier than I thought it would be. Retrospectively, I think I should have gone straight to Wellsford. Well, I went this way. I was just told the road to Wellsford was pretty bad. Again, at this information place. So I went this way, for better or worse. I actually don't mind riding in the rain. It doesn't really bother me. I always like to have my lights. I set them on like flashing mode so it makes them more obvious. Of course I put my bicycle jacket back on, which is waterproof, and also it's very reflective. It's a dark colour, but it has this reflective material in it, so it is reflective. I don't like the high-vis clothing. It just doesn't suit me really. I just don't like it. It's too impractical. When you're travelling, and as anyone who's travelled knows, when you're carrying your limited luggage, I mean if you're not with a motor vehicle, if you're flying, say flying international, you're carrying luggage with you, you only have a limited amount of space to carry your clothing. This is the same on a bicycle. I mean I can carry no doubt more than I would if I was backpacking, but I'm still limited on clothing. So to take high-vis clothing or high visibility clothing, you know, the bright yellows and oranges and these sorts of colours, it's just another piece of clothing which I'd never wear in any other circumstance. I'd only wear it in poor weather, in the wet weather. And I can't be bothered with that. People will say, well, it's for your safety and stuff. Well, I'll rather take the risk. And just hope that people bother to look, which I'm afraid to say in New Zealand is one of the things New Zealanders don't tend to do. Well, they do look, but it tends to be like with their mobile phones. It'd be nice if people looked at the road, wouldn't it? Again, this road is not very nice for cycling. There's not a massive area over the white line for me to cycle in isolation from the traffic. This road's not as bad as the road yesterday though, mainly due to the traffic or the lack of traffic. I figure most of the traffic going up the road yesterday towards Helensville must be going to either Helensville or on its way up to Wellsford. I just think if you're going to the other coast essentially, which I'm going to now, you'd go up from a different route from Auckland. You wouldn't come up this way. Still a lot of cars, relatively, for what I thought would be a back road. But it's not as bad as the road yesterday with all of the lorries and much more traffic. The main problem with the roads is the same thing I seem to have to deal with now on most days, is just the narrowness of the roads, or the lack of space for a cyclist outside of the white line or to the left hand side of the white line on the edge of the road. I mean, this part's quite nice, there's a bit of space, which is nice, but the space seems to have dried up again. I mean, now there is some gravel there, so worst case scenario I can go onto the gravel. As we admire some of the trees here. Sort of a wide angle look at them. Well, this land could no doubt do with some of this rain. There was someone working there in the rain, digging away. He'd be one of the few people saying, "I wish it wasn't raining right now." I suppose he's got a little roof over him. But yeah, this area, as you can see, is quite brown. So they most likely haven't had a lot of rain. So I know that the farming people especially would be rather happy with a bit of rain to give them a bit more green to their land, to feed their animals or grow their crops, and the lorries can deliver them. And the sky is still very grey, so the weather seems to be set in. Actually, as I'm recording this voiceover, the rain's coming down heavily on the roof, so I'm not sure if you'll hear it on the recording, but if it does, well, maybe it'll suit the rain on the screen as well. You can actually see the rain now in the shots. The rain intensity has increased. Finally, we get a sign. The road, the motorway to Auckland or to Albany. I remember seeing this sign, and it was, to be honest, of not much help to me. I know where Auckland is, and it's not the way I want to go. And Albany, I have no idea where that is. I thought it was a part of Auckland, like North Auckland, which in that case, to me, both the signs are saying going to Auckland. Neither of them said Silverdale, so I actually come up to this road here, which is not the road the motorway is pushing. The motorway is, I mean, that one there. But I actually pull over here in the rain and consult my trusty map and figure out I have to go this way. Well, this is the most efficient way to get to Silverdale and then on to Orewa. And it was lovely to go down a hill for a while. This is quite a fast little section, as you can tell. And the rain has got heavier. So yes, on my map, this sign pointed was the road that went to Auckland, or some sort of motorway there. The road also, if you don't go on the motorway, it actually does lead to Silverdale, so that was my plan. Well, this road actually leads to the road that leads to the motorway to Auckland. I'll stop talking about all these roads. It's confusing enough when you look at a map. Trying to describe it is a bit redundant. I mean, it's not really that important to anyone, except me when I was cycling. Right now, when I'm sitting in this comfortable chair looking at this footage as I'm recording this voiceover, the directions aren't that important anymore because it's too late to change anything, isn't it? As in, which road I choose. Those choices have already been taken for better or for worse. So now the lens is getting quite heavily occluded by raindrops. Sorry about that, but as I said earlier, there's not a lot I can do. If I did wipe it when I was cycling, to be honest, I'd no doubt just smear the water around. I don't think I'd clear it very well, so I think it is best to just leave it. Maybe some people will find it adds to the atmosphere, but I doubt many would. I think it just looks a bit terrible. I need to have some tear-offs, like on motor racing helmets for the motorcycle riders. They have these thin, clear strips they put across their visors, and you pull one off and you have clear vision again. I think they do it on motor car racing as well, that when they race cars with windows, not open wheelers of course. I think the open wheelers actually have tear-off visors as well. Most times they're using them for bugs and grit flicking up from the track, just to have that clear vision, because when you are going at as fast as you possibly can type speeds on these race vehicles, one thing you do want is good vision, I guess. Can't say I've ever been a racer. I can't say I've ever actually used tear-offs, so this is just speculation, I guess. So now the road limit, as you might have noticed, changed back to 50, and I came across this area which wasn't on my map, and I have no idea really what it is. To the left here you can see the road goes off. It's a very nice new road, and I think down that way maybe some sort of housing development area or something like that. So all this road, look, that junction and everything looks very new. And these red lines across the road that I just went over all look very new. So I think that's some sort of development, be it residential or industrial, I have no idea. Now we come up to the actual the Nets Road, which leads to the highway, the State Highway 1, the main road, and this hill was incredibly steep. It just went steeper and steeper. I hate to say it again, but yeah, the camera doesn't really show how steep it was. And as you can see, I'm struggling up it, and this is, you've got to remember, at twice the speed, so I'm going pretty slow, and oh, there we go. That's as far as I'm making it. My poor old legs just couldn't get the strength. I don't stand up on my pedals, as in I don't stand up and pedal hard, which is a way I'd be able to keep going, you'd think. But yeah, my bike skips gears, it skips now and again, and the last thing I want to be doing is standing up on the pedals and suddenly have essentially it's like when you're pedaling, you've got resistance because the gears to the road, you've got that resistance. This skipping is like suddenly there's no resistance just for a split second, so your feet go crashing forward. It's like a jolt on your legs. If I was standing up, that could be I could fall off, say, or it could be painful, that sudden jolt. And if I'm in the wrong position as I'm pedaling and that happens, yeah, I could maybe fall off. That's why I'm concerned about it, and hence why I have to push up some of these hills. Also, of course, it's because I'm not strong enough to get up these hills, not fit enough. But I'll actually I think I could get further if I had the ability to get up these hills by pedaling harder. So I'm just taking on some water after cycling up that hill. Now you can see I'm onto a newer looking road. Passing this lorry who is parked there for reasons. And so now I'm on a road. I've seen a sign, there was one there somewhere saying Silverdale, so I knew I was going the right way, which is comforting. And this roundabout here, I believe, is the one to take you onto the actual motorway if you wanted to go north, which is the way I need to go, but you're not allowed on this road. I think it's actually a toll road as well, like you have to pay for it. There's the road there. Because there is a road around here, I found out later, which is a toll road, and there's no way of paying the toll, no easy way. You have to pay it online, which I think's a dreadful thing. Apparently there are service stations you can pay the toll at. As I go past Snow Planet, there's some snow area there, I guess. We don't get snow up in this region, so the only way you'd ever see snow here is at Snow Planet, I imagine. Anyway. Yes, to pay the toll, you can go to some service stations, but you have to pay additional fees. I think it's disgusting. It's a toll road. The toll should be the set price, not, oh, you have to pay it online, so okay, now you've got to have access to internet. Oh, if you don't, we'll punish you and make you pay more. They should have a toll booth there, which is, sorry, this country is terrible how they really do grasp at every penny, at every opportunity. The greed, the capitalist greed in New Zealand is quite frightening. I'm sure a lot of you are living in similar countries, and some of you maybe love it. Maybe it's treated you well, and you enjoy the system, and that's good for you. I personally don't like capitalism. As we enter Silverdale, so yeah, this is a town which is on a hill really, because I had to cycle up that steep hill as you saw to get here. And that's the Silverdale town down that side street. So, I'm guessing there'll be maybe some views from some areas here you could see down to the coast. Yeah, it's a place I truly did not know existed, to be honest. I've heard of Silverdale, but I think it's a place, there's an area of Hamilton, the city I am from in New Zealand, also called Silverdale. So I think the name only means anything because of that. And here we go up quite another steep hill, so it's a slow crawl. And there's a bit of industry here. As I struggle my way. At least with voiceover, Vincent, you don't have to put up all the panting. I don't know if it's annoying to anyone. I leave it in because I want to leave this to be as an honest representation of my ride as possible. I don't want to edit out anything that makes me sound like, oh, I'm just flying up these hills and oh, I'm super fit guy. Like I could speed this up to say 4 times when we're going up hills to make it look easier. But I'll stick to 2 times. I think that's a good level. Mainly because of like the motor vehicles. As you can see, these cars are zooming past at quite a weird looking speed. I mean, at the moment they're in a slower place, so it doesn't look so bad, but on the open roads, since it is double, they're essentially going at double their speed. So if they are sitting on 100 kilometers an hour, what we're seeing is 200 kilometers an hour, which it looks a bit fast. But of course this does make these videos very long. Of course, if you're watching this on one of the streaming platforms on the internet where I'll be publishing it, most of them have the option to speed it up, so if you really wanted to, you could. I'll leave that entirely in your hands. But you will miss out on my the drone of my voice. Also, you miss out on the music. afraid you won't miss out on the road noise at this section of the the ride, because as I've said, the rain, I'm not going to be recording noise. I'm not going to be recording directly from the ride because my microphone's not waterproof, and as I've said before, but I'll reiterate now, my camera audio is unusable. There's a big crane there. I do like these big vehicles, just I don't know, they appeal to me. They're just so monstrous, I guess, so big compared to what I'm more familiar with being a two-wheel fan or advocate. 4 kilometers to Arera, that sign said, so almost there. And we've just gone up a big hill, so hopefully, because Arera is a beach area, should be quite a bit downhill to get there. I'm starting to get some nice views here of the countryside, so we are quite high up. I think this is about the summit of this little hill. So the day hasn't been that long a day, so I'm actually not too bad cycling this day. I didn't feel worn out at all, which is nice. Yesterday was just a strange day, I guess. I just didn't have it in me. As I'm sure I've mentioned before, a lot of this is a mind game. It's all about your head, how your head is dealing with the cycling more than the body. I'm just pulling over here to get under some shelter, just to consult my map again, just to see where the accommodation is. And now we're leaving that place I stopped. You can see it in the background there. And we come to the downhill slope. Going by my map, the actual camping place is on the entrance to the town, as we can look over to the estuary. Yeah, the camping area is actually on the entrance to this town. It's quite a nice view here. We're getting down to sea level pretty quickly. Yeah, and so I actually get to this point here, and yeah, I'm essentially now in Arera. So I'm on the lookout for the camping area. Well, I know it's on the right-hand side. Over there somewhere, but not 100% sure. I get to these lights and plan to keep going straight through, and realise that actually was the campsite entrance right there. And look at that, I've even got a green light, so I can just keep on trucking. So I duck across the road, and here we are, Arera. So yeah, I don't have to bother with all these borders, blockades, and I can race straight in and book in, and I'll see you later.